Hi folks, this is Rose from In Rose's Garden, and today I'm working with the SoftFlex company kit renewal. And we're going to make a necklace and possibly a pair of earrings. Right now I have the beads I'm going to use down on my mat, and we'll turn down and get to work. Thanks. Okay, I have a whole pile of beads that I've chosen for this necklace, and I've added some of my spacers, because I like spacers. And we're going to cut some wire and get to it. Actually, maybe I will just, I'm only going to make this necklace about 22 inches because I'm not going to put a pendant on it. I don't want it to be extra long. So let's get to about 22 to 24 inches out here. There we go. The rest of the wire up. This wire comes in the kit. For those of you who don't do the kit, they have a package of specially made Jesse James beads, and then they have various other beads and the wire that comes with it. So now before we start anything, we're going to put a bead stopper on the one end. And I tend to work from the middle so I can get a sort of idea of what I'm going to do. So we'll get started with that. These three big beads are going to be sort of my center. One of them will be my focal, but the other is going to go with slightly different beads on it. So let's get the focal on first, and we'll start up one side. I have chosen to, this is one of the spacers that were not in the kit that I've put in myself. And then we're going to get, oh, there we go, this little guy. One of these, again, one of my own spacers, and then one of these. And we're going to repeat that little bit of pattern here until we get the other big bead on. And so that's the start. And then we're going to put another one of these spacers here, one of these green crackles. We're going to put this bead cap with this, I'm not sure what you call this color. I guess it's a beige type color. And the other bead cap. This. Flat. Well, this is square. It does have flat sides, but it's a square. The other crackle bead. And then we're going to put on one of these little bead caps, one of these drusies, another bead cap, and a miracle bead. Now I'm going to switch and do the other side before I start the side, finish the rest of the back and the sides. And we're going to make this pattern identical. This bead is going to be our center bead. I'm going to give myself a little more room with the wire here. Okay, now we need to get this little pattern in again. There we go. The blue bead. Ah, there it is. These are an interesting bead, aren't they? Okay, so let's see, where are we looking for here? You. Oh yeah, this one first. And one of the miracle beads. Now I believe we have an identical pattern on either side now. So you can see this will be the middle of the necklace. My original plan was to hook it to some links and then put chain up the back, but I think that I'm going to just simply use these little beads here that was included in our pack. Aren't these cute little beads? And let's see how far it gets. Okay, now we need to start with one of these dividers by the miracle bead. Then we're going to put on and put a silver bead between these. Come on, baby, go on. And then we're going to put one of these other beads this direction, so the hollow is facing each other. Then we'll put another one of these, another silver. Okay, so now we're going to put a little daisy spacer right here in this next spot. And then we'll put another set of this, these little teardrops facing each other. And once we have these in place, we are then going to use some more of these and put a miracle bead in here. And then we'll continue on this pattern again. Okay, I'm going to have to move the wire up some so we can have a little more room on this side. Come on, bead, where's your... There we go. Now I think this is where I ended it, but we do have some more beads, so let's check the length and see if we want to add this last set. So that's going to be about 18. Yeah, let's add another set. That'll make it about 20 probably. No, not that one. This one. Okay, we're running out of room, so let's go over and work on the other side, and then we'll see how much more wire we have left. I think we're out of wire, so we're not going to fit this last little bit on. That's fine. This is pretty nice. I like the way it's ending. And it is 20 inches. So that's a pretty nice set length. And now we're going to get a clasp to put on it. I have probably going to use a magnetic clasp. I have a little magnetic clasp. This is a super magnet, so they're pretty strong. And I'm getting a couple of silver silver crimp beads. See, it's already sticking to stuff. And we'll put the crimp bead on one side of the magnet, and then we'll put it over here and we'll crimp it. Now that we've put the crimp and with the super magnet on, then we need to crimp this. And I use the magical crimpers. There's a little divot here where you put the clamp in and squish, and then turn it and squish again. Do that a few times. Now don't try this method with a cheap crimp because it will break. But the SoftFlex crimps are really nice and strong, and they'll hold really well. Tug test, it's great. See if this bead will go through the 2 wires. Looks like it will. That's great. So we can push this over here to the side, and we'll want to keep this sort of loose as we crimp the second side, because otherwise your necklace will stiffen up and be just horrible. And you want to be able to have a little movement and looseness there. Let's crimp this while we get the half of the clasp off the other side, because it'll be much easier to hook it with there when they're apart. So now that we have that apart, let's get this out. Put the little magnet on this side. Now be aware that this little magnet is going to try and grab everything. But boy, I just gave myself just enough wire, didn't I? Okay, so let's see if we can get this to go through this bead. And if we can't, that's fine. We can just trim the extra wire off. Oh, it wants to run away from me. Should have cut a little more wire. It's much easier if you have more wire when you're working than less. Okay, I think it's... Are you going through the bead, little one? I think it is. Let's see. There it is. So let's see if we can get hold of it and give it a tug so that it's down here further. Okay. Now we want this bead to go back down here some. So we want to have a little room up here. We want it to match pretty much the other side. So we can pull a little more wire through. I think that's good. Pretty sure it's about the same as the other side. Yes, it is. So now we crimp. Come on, little magnet, get out of my way. Magnet's making it a little difficult to get the crimp in. See, go a little more to the center. There we go. And around. Tug, and it was fine. So now that we have that done, we'll clip this extra wire off. And come back together, and there's our necklace all finished. Isn't that pretty? Hope you liked that. In a minute, maybe we'll make a pair of earrings to go along. Let's get this other stuff cleaned up and get the earring stuff out, and we'll make some earrings. Okay, I've got all the things laid out here that I want to use for this pair of earrings. And the first thing we got to do is I cut some 20 gauge wire, and we need to make a loop on the bottom to hook the caged beads onto. I am going to make a loop to go through one of the cage pieces. Now you've got to pay attention to these because they have a place where they come together. So you want to get a spot which has a entirely folded spot in it rather than a connector spot, so that you don't have to worry about it spreading at all or anything like that. So work it down onto your loop that you've made, and then we will wrap it on here. Grab the bottom with your pliers where the loop's at, and then just make a few wraps around. I like at least 3 for the security. When you've got it about where you want it, clip off your excess. And then tuck in your extra wire. Now this is probably going to argue with you a bit because it doesn't want to hold still while you do this, but there we go. Now let's start stringing the beads in the pattern I've chosen. And that is a spacer, this beige bead, another spacer, the crackle bead, spacer, blue square, spacer, and green miracle bead. And in this way, they're going to match somewhat the pattern in the, they're going to match with the same beads as the earring. They're not in quite the same pattern, but they are going to match the beads. So there's one, and we'll want to make a wrapped loop to finish that off. As you can see, I have a lot more wire than I need. I'd rather have too much than not enough. Wrap this around, drop it, and wrap. And when you get to the end, trim this puppy off. I always put my finger there. Well, I shouldn't say always, because I've been known to not to do so. If you don't, those little wires will go flying. Okay. Let's see if we've got this straight. And then it needs the ear wire. Close that back up, and there we go. That's what the first earring looks like, and we'll get the second earring made here in just a moment. Okay, let's get the loop made for the second piece of, come on baby, okay. Now for the bottom loop, I use my bell making pliers, and the only reason I do that is because I want this loop to be relatively good sized, because we're going to be going through that. Now after I get it all the way around, I'll bend this so it stands straight up. But anyway, the reason why I wanted the bigger loop is because we are going through this crystal, this caged crystal. The crystal was right where I wanted to put the wire at. Well, I guess we're going to move it. About right. Come on, baby, move out of my way. There we go. I think these are made as one piece and then all folded together like a jigsaw puzzle. I say that because there's a lot of connectors. If you study it, you can find where it connects together. Okay, now that we've got that on, I'm going to get the pliers out and hold that loop while we twist it around. 1, 2, and 3. Trim this baby off. Careful when you're trimming stuff, not only because of these flying pieces, but I have in the past accidentally cut my base wire. I've accidentally cut my loop, so you want to be careful that you're cutting what you actually wish to cut. So now let's put the rest of this together. Sorry for bumping the camera there. Let's get this finished being put together and then the second rear ring will be done, of course. Okay, now we need to make our wrapped loop here at the top. Like I say, lots of extra wire, but it's much better to have extra than when you get to the top and you're finishing up and then you realize that you don't have enough wire to wrap with. Okay, let's get that trimmed and tucked. I think I went off camera there a little bit, didn't I? Sorry about that. There's our second earring, and we just have to put it on the ear wire and it's done. There we go. Tighten the wire back up, and we're finished with our pair of earrings. Oop, come here, baby. So there we go. Earrings and necklace. And I hope you enjoyed this. Okay, we've now finished our SoftFlex Renewal Necklace. There's the necklace. And our earrings. And there are the, whoop, let's shake all over the place so you can't see them. And there's the earrings. Thank you for watching, and I hope you like this. Bye-bye.